90% of men are starting to avoid women. Most men are now avoiding women, and that spells a lot of trouble for society going forward. Today's video comes from the China Unvarnished channel. Their channel will be linked in the description so that you can go check them out and support them. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Brothers, if your own conditions are average, don't casually pursue girls with outstanding appearances. The reason is simple. Beauty is not just a small advantage. The allure it brings is long-term and powerful. And this kind of temptation and value conflict can last for years, even decades. A man who is neither rich nor handsome will find it difficult to keep a beautiful partner for the long haul. I remember one time, my childhood friend saw a beautiful girl online and really liked her. Eventually, he managed to get her contact information. My childhood friend is a businessman, the kind of man who is quite wealthy. When they met for the first time, my friend gave her an iPhone 14 as a gift and even transferred 9,999 yuan to her generously. However, just a few days later, she returned all the money in gifts and told my friend that she already had a boyfriend. She explained that she added people on WeChat out of curiosity, just to see what kind of person would be so generous. But that wasn't the end of the story. Later, my friend and this girl became even closer. Although the girl insisted that she would never betray her boyfriend, her chats revealed a lot, like complaints about her boyfriend, that he doesn't make money, has bad habits, or doesn't pay attention to hygiene. Think about it carefully. Whether or not she accepts the gifts or money, the moment a gift is offered, the girl's feelings inevitably experience a subtle imbalance. What truly makes her anxious isn't the material things themselves, but the uncertainty about her future. On the internet, you'll often see posts about friend A traveling abroad, friend B receiving luxury handbags, or friend C showing off luxury cars, mansions, or extravagant weddings. This kind of comparison puts tremendous psychological pressure on girls. Remember, girls also compare in life. However, they compare their boyfriends, marriages, or living conditions. Now let me tell you another story about my friend and another girl. This girl was way above average in terms of education, appearance, and capability. But her boyfriend could only earn a few thousand yuan a month, and would collapse in bed from exhaustion after work in their rented apartment. Do you know what happened to them? At the time, she and her boyfriend were planning to buy a home for marriage, requiring a 400,000 yuan down payment. The boyfriend suggested that she contribute half, or 200,000 yuan, to have her name included on the property ownership certificate. However, she didn't have that much money, so she approached my friend for advice. The two agreed that my friend would give her 50,000 yuan every month. What did this girl provide in return? I'd rather not elaborate. Very quickly, my friend transferred 200,000 yuan to her, and even comforted her, saying, "Don't feel pressured. Just treat it as borrowing my money." However, the next day, the girl returned all the money. She told my friend that she had spent a sleepless night thinking it through. She ultimately decided that even if her name wouldn't be on the property ownership certificate, she wouldn't betray her relationship because of money. She also admitted that even if it was a loan, she couldn't repay it. After returning the money, she blocked all of my friend's contact information. It's hard to imagine how much temptation those beautiful girls from less privileged families face in life. Especially when they possess good looks and dress up a little, they attract even more attention. My friend himself isn't bad either. He's the owner of a small internet company, 1.8 meters tall, and quite good-looking.
Just to be clear, guys, that guy was a complete and utter simp. And I will say this, I think that the woman, I can't really blame her in this situation because most women would have taken the money and taken advantage of the simp. But she kept on returning his money, and the simp just kept on offering her more and more money. Because what the simp was trying to do was buy the woman. He knew the woman had a boyfriend. Didn't care. Still kept on trying. That's how simps are. You know, you will never reach a simp because that's how they survive. These are bottom feeder individuals. And honestly, I feel like this girl was raised right because 99%, I would say 99.8% of women would never have the power to do what she did and to reject all of this money and to realize, hey, you know what? This is not going to work. I'm just taking this guy's money. I don't want it. Okay? And, of course, she's like now feeling insecure because here she is with this guy who's showing her all of this money and, like, oh, I can give you this life. I can do this for you that, this brokey can't do for you. And she made it clear to him that she had a boyfriend from the get go. Realistically, she shouldn't be talking to him. And I will say, she should not have been on these WeChat programs. We're heading into some very hard economic times. I mean, they're already here. They're already here, guys. When the banks collapse, everything changes. ATMs will freeze, withdrawals will stop, and millions will find themselves unable to access their money. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. History shows us that once the cracks appear, the system goes downhill fast and the scramble to protect wealth begins. When this happens, people will panic, desperately trying to convert their devalued assets into crypto. But by then, it'll be too late for most. Only those who have prepared in advance, those who set up decentralized bank accounts and secured their wealth in crypto, will thrive amidst the chaos. At Angry's Crypto Academy, we'll teach you how to stay ahead of the collapse. You'll learn how to safeguard your funds, leverage decentralized banking, and position yourself to profit when the system fails. The warning signs are here, and time is running out. The banks won't warn you when they fail, but we are. Don't wait until ATMs stop working or your funds are frozen. Join Angry's Crypto Academy today and prepare for what's coming. Act now because when the collapse begins, it'll already be too late. Click the link in description to sign up.
It's rare for a girl to resist his allure. In this age of rampant comparisons, this girl's ability to stick to her principles might be attributed to her good education. She has strong values and has been surrounded by positive influences, which have helped her maintain her principles in a complex environment. So, I sincerely advise everyone, if your own conditions aren't particularly good, don't casually pursue girls who are too beautiful. Even if you do get married, keeping her heart will still be a challenge. Finally, I'd like to remind all the girls, no matter the situation, always stick to your principles. Don't lose your dignity and values because of a moment of temptation, especially when faced with a 200,000 yuan kind of cost. Think carefully about what it might truly entail.
为什么不要找太漂亮的女人呢？因为生肉不单彩。
Why do many people advise men not to pursue overly beautiful women lightly? The reason is actually very simple. Ultimately, if a man lacks sufficient financial strength, having a beautiful woman in his life can create significant pressure. This is not about demeaning women but rather discussing from a realistic perspective the challenges that may come with being with a beautiful woman. First of all, being with a beautiful woman comes with high costs. Beauty is not just an external attribute but also involves expensive maintenance, such as clothes, handbags, cosmetics, and various lifestyle demands, all of which require money. I know a high school classmate whose monthly income was around 8,000 yuan. His girlfriend was a stunningly beautiful woman, and he spent nearly 6,000 yuan on her each month. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, he lost his job and his income plummeted. His girlfriend quickly broke up with him. In the end, he not only lost his relationship but also a significant amount of money. Truly a case of losing both love and wealth. So, a man must ask himself one crucial question. Do you have sufficient financial strength and the ability to earn consistently? After all, very few women are willing to endure a life of hardship for the long term, especially those who are particularly attractive. If you lack money, what can you do? You'll have to spend a lot of time and energy pleasing and accompanying her, time and energy that could otherwise be invested in your career. The result is that your career stagnates due to distractions, trapping your life in a vicious cycle. Secondly, beautiful women often come with more trouble. Whether it's historical tales of kings or scandals involving celebrities, 80% of disputes and dramas involve women.
Something I've always thought about, guys, and many people will try to act like it's not true, is that most conflicts in life really come from women. The average man does not want to get into a fight with another man. The average man just wants to relax and enjoy himself and have a good time. He wants peace in his life. You have so many wars that were fought over women. When it came down to resources, what were these wars fought over? Over women. Guys, even the concept and notion of slavery it stems from men who enslaved others so that they could provide for their wives and children. Okay? It was always about resources. If you take a bunch of men and you put them together and there are no women around, ultimately these men will eventually begin to collaborate. All right? They'll say, you're not too bad. You're not too bad either. And everything will basically fall into a type of synergy. But when you insert women into the pack, you end up with competition, increased competition to impress the female, but appease the female, and and then at the same time, the woman begins to change natural and normal male behaviors to please herself. And a lot of this is done just for her own entertainment. Not whether or not it's actually good for her, not whether or not it's actually even what she wants. For example, making men more effeminate or making men, you know, given to her whims. When the reality is she doesn't even want these things, but she just basically wants a continuous change of emotions. She's just doing it for the fun of it. Women will topple nations just because they're bored and then blame men for the outcome. Think about it. Man lost the Garden of Eden because of what Eve did. Eve was well aware after she ate the fruit that she had been lied to and deceived by the serpent. However, she still chose to go and give it to Adam so that he would also suffer the same fate as her. The entirety of the fall of man was caused by Eve. Think, and there's so many who try to say, "Oh, it's not true." It's a how else is it true? Adam was clearly not going to mess with the fruit. He was chilling in the garden all along. The tree was always there. So Adam knew, right? It didn't just suddenly appear there when God created Eve, did it? More than likely, the tree was there all along, and God told Adam from the get-go, "Do not eat from the tree." So Adam knew right off the bat not to eat from the tree before Eve even got there. And he was perfectly happy not eating from the tree, but he felt alone. To be honest, what Adam needed was not a wife. What he needed was a good dog. He needed a good dog, and he needed to learn how to be alone and how to be content. He needed to get stronger. All right, little bro was weak. I'm gonna be real with y'all. Little bro was weak. Okay, he was weak, and he needed to learn how to be alone. He needed to learn how to find solace in solitude and get stronger. He was weak. And as a result of that, that led to the creation of Eve, and that led to our ultimate downfall. The best thing for a man is to be alone. They say God said it's not good for man to be alone, but we are born alone and we will die alone. We simply have to learn how to walk with God. And that's really it. But not because, guys, think about it. Even in the Bible, it says if you're able to do without a wife, it's best to do so. It's better to be out in the wilderness than to be in a home with a wife that is upset, or a very upset woman. It is true. It will bring you to a point of misery, guys. There's something that women do to men. It's like it robs us of our masculinity, our humanity, our happiness, of our it rips away everything from us. It turns us into shells of our former selves. And it's something that they do, and it tears us down until we're nothing. And it's like they cannot stop doing it. They just can't stop. And Western society is the way it is because of the Sims. The more that I do research, the more I hear from you guys, the more I realize it's been like this forever. The Sims are the ones who fought to make this a reality because this is how they survive. But there have always been quite a generation of women who don't like men, who have wanted to control men. I didn't know about this whole thing about women's temperance, and they saw pushing for prohibition as a means of getting into politics. It was basically Christian women who were trying to ban alcohol going back to the 1800s, like the 1820s, and then they finally pulled it off a little over 100 years later. And the main purpose of this was for them to gain influence. It had nothing to do with men, specifically with men in of itself, more so to do with controlling men, gaining political influence in society and within the state. It was always about power. It was always about control. It was women who were desperate for power and desperate for control. And this started in the and this was Christian women. It was Christian women who started this. Guys, this is hell. This is absolute hell. Guy, you know something interesting? You know, I noticed this, and I never really talk about it. I do want to mention it, where you have a lot of these women who used to work in the adult industry, former adult work, adult workers who made adult content, former women who are on OnlyFools, Lonely Fans, and then when they leave the industry, some of them don't even fully leave the industry. They're still in the industry when they go to the church. That's why I say stay off the streets and stay out of the church, because the church leads to the streets lead to the church, Only Fools leads to the streets, Only Fools leads to the church. It's quickly with a woman who was previously involved in this type of industry, who was previously involved in prostitution. And this is supposed to set an example for other men.
Moreover, in major historical wars, over one-third were triggered by women. Beauty itself is a resource, but it can also bring unnecessary trouble. Even if you marry her, she might still attract a constant stream of admirers. The harassment from these suitors can leave you feeling uneasy. If you're not mentally strong, you may become suspicious of your wife, doubting her loyalty. Over time, this lack of trust will inevitably lead to disharmony in the family and potentially to its breakdown. Thirdly, beautiful women are often used to being praised and adored since childhood, giving them a strong sense of superiority. Having been treated like a princess from a young age, beautiful women usually have high expectations. Even if you're wealthy, you might still struggle to truly win their hearts. Without sufficient personal charisma, relying solely on wealth makes it difficult to earn their genuine affection. What is personal charisma? It's a combination of qualities including confidence, a commanding presence, a carefree attitude that isn't afraid of losing her, and a sense of responsibility. You need to make her both respect and admire you to secure an important place in her heart. Otherwise, even with financial stability, a lack of personal charm can still lead to failure in the relationship. So, what should you consider when choosing a partner? An ancient saying sums it up aptly: marry for virtue, not beauty. What does this mean? You'll find that most successful tycoons' first wives are usually plain-looking but virtuous. Such wives often provide tremendous support in both career and family, offering irreplaceable encouragement and help, both emotionally and practically. Therefore, rather than chasing a wife who only possesses external beauty, it's wiser to choose a virtuous partner who can weather life's ups and downs with you.
杨老，你没疑问过跟我说找媳妇儿要找乖的，要找漂亮的，要找身材好看的。
You men always say you want a wife who is obedient, gentle, pretty, and has a good figure. But in my opinion, if your wife is too beautiful, it can easily attract unwanted attention. You must understand, a beauty is not necessarily a good wife, and a good wife doesn't have to be a beauty. When it comes to choosing a wife, I think as long as she looks decent and is willing to live a steady life, that's already very good. It's perfectly fine if you want to find a very beautiful woman, but you must be clear about this. If she's too obedient and beautiful, but her values are off, then you'd better be prepared for the day when she betrays you emotionally. So, let me say this. Men without money should never dream of marrying extremely beautiful women. This is not a joke. If you don't believe me, just look at the scandals involving many celebrities or the numerous cases of beautiful women betraying their husbands in real life. There are simply too many examples like this. Beautiful women aren't inherently bad people, but the problem is that they're particularly prone to attracting attention. Think about it. If you marry a wife who loves beauty and is obsessed with dressing up, she might have one issue, and that is her high maintenance could cost you a lot more money and energy. It's just like buying a car. Those with stable handling, strong power, quick acceleration, and large space often share a common flaw: high fuel consumption. That's why I think when you men choose a wife, you don't need to insist on those who are extraordinarily beautiful, tall, and strikingly gorgeous. Instead, find someone with a higher IQ, better physical endurance, and reliable character. This is the right way to go. Women who appear too obedient, beautiful, and tall might make you feel satisfied on the surface, but behind the scenes? If her beauty seems unnaturally perfect, that could lead to problems. So, instead of agonizing at home, Why not find someone who lets you focus on your career with peace of mind? That's the wisest choice, don't you agree?
我不介意鄂尔多斯兄弟们找老婆去找那种大美女啊，这个
I want to say something to all the brothers out there. When looking for a wife, never choose a big beauty. I understand that many people are drawn to beauty, but I must remind everyone that choosing a beautiful woman can come with significant risks. Why do I say this? Because I myself have once been infatuated with beautiful women, but I've realized that they are not the kind of girls who can easily walk into your life. Over the years, I've gradually come to understand this truth. If I were to find a girlfriend, I would definitely choose a woman with average looks. Girls who are exceptionally beautiful often have many issues. These girls have been accustomed to being praised for their appearance from a young age, and as they grow older, they find it hard to understand why others might have a less than perfect mood. They believe their lives have been smooth, which makes it difficult for them to empathize with others. You see, these girls have received special treatment from both their families and society. Their parents constantly praise their looks and charm, and they are often the center of attention in any crowd.
I do want to warn you about something, and this is something that you have to be very, very careful with. Women can adapt quite quickly. For example, you have a lot of women in the manosphere now who are directing men over to their adult content, are using men to basically subsidize their living. Women like Roma Army, they pull in something like $20,000 a month on Patreon, and I'm not going after Chloe. I'm not going after Chloe. I don't want that smoke, especially from her Sims, and I don't think Chloe's the worst of people. I don't want to say anything that triggers her. And again, I don't think she's a bad person. However, Chloe has admitted to doing this, and I don't know if she's actually completely stopped, but previously she used to sell her artwork on, or make it available through her Patreon. And when I say artwork, basically it was just it was basically an OnlyFools account, just not on OnlyFools. And people could go there and they could find pictures of her in various states of dress. And you don't even have to pay for it. You can just basically Google this stuff and you can find a series of her of that content. And she basically said that she thought less of herself, and that's the reason why she was doing it. I don't know what's on her Patreon now, but I respect the fact that she does not hide how much money she's been making. She's pretty transparent about that. But all of those people are Sims. Recently she was screaming and hollering because there was another woman who had a relationship with a person who was not a male who was not of age, and she was screaming and hollering. Chloe was screaming and hollering about the situation and saying that there were all of these men in her comments who were saying they wish they had a teacher like that. And she was saying what she would do if a teacher, if any woman were to have that type of relationship with her son. And she couldn't understand why these men were saying those types of things in her comments. Well, Chloe, those are your Sims. Okay, those people who pay your bills, and were on your Patreon. They weren't on your Patreon because they care about you so much or because they really like you. No, they were on your Patreon because of the content you were putting out there. I've said this plenty of times. The manosphere is rife with Sims. Why are there so many Sims in the manosphere? There are so many Sims in the manosphere because they have nowhere else to go. They've destroyed the rest of society, so now they come into our space after they have nowhere else to go in society. Let me ask you something. When the banks collapse, and trust me, it's coming, will you be ready? Imagine waking up to ATMs that don't work, bank doors chained, shut, and millions of people left with nothing. No cash, no access to their savings, and no way to survive. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. That's why I created Angry's Crypto Academy, to teach you everything you need to know about crypto so you can protect yourself and your family. You'll learn how to buy, sell, and even trade crypto for a living. Day trade crypto for a living. Plus, we alert you to new crypto trends so you can profit before everyone else even knows what's happening. Right now, I've just published an exclusive investment guide inside the Academy, and it's linked in the description below. In it, I reveal the one coin that could make you a crypto millionaire. A coin so revolutionary, it could change everything. If you missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum, this is your second chance. This isn't just about financial freedom, it's about survival. When the system collapses and everyone else is selling, you'll be the one buying, prepared to weather the storm and thrive while others struggle to survive. And for a limited time, you can join the Academy for the cost of a cup of coffee. Don't wait. This knowledge isn't optional, it's critical. The link's in the description. So go check it out now.
They've never lacked admirers, and the love letters they receive could fill a whole bookshelf. Such girls tend to look down on men. They may even develop a certain aversion to men, thinking that men constantly disrupt their lives. Even in the workplace, they might feel that male colleagues and bosses pay too much attention to them. In relationships, these girls are more likely to take control. They believe men should serve them, like asking men to help with things or run errands. In their minds, men are supposed to help them, and if a man doesn't, then there's something wrong with him. As a result, these beautiful women often don't realize their own flaws. To be honest, I understand this mentality. It's human nature. If you were a beautiful woman, you'd probably like being pursued and enjoy having people give you gifts and praise you all the time. However, from a man's perspective, such a woman may seem very attractive. When dating her, you'd enjoy looking at her beauty, but when it comes to marriage, you might face a lot of problems. Therefore, I sincerely suggest to all the brothers, when choosing a partner, while physical attractiveness is important, the most critical factors in long-term companionship are the person's character and values.
Many men have had this mindset. Pursuing beautiful women seems almost instinctive. However, when it comes to choosing a wife, many tend to forego such choices. Why is that? I believe there are three main reasons worth exploring for all men. First, having a beautiful wife means more rivals in love. Beautiful women are often surrounded by outstanding men. Their charm frequently attracts those around them, which means a husband would constantly need to stay vigilant and deal with competition from other men. This situation can put a lot of pressure on the husband. Day after day, handling the presence of potential rivals can be mentally and emotionally exhausting. Therefore, marrying a beautiful wife often comes with greater emotional burdens. Second, beautiful wives tend to be more headstrong and dominant in character. From a young age, beautiful women often enjoy smoother lives and are showered with affection from those around them. This can lead to a more willful personality. In family life, such a disposition may create conflicts. They may have a stronger temper and get upset over minor matters. As a husband, you need to invest more patience and communication to resolve these issues. Building a harmonious relationship with a woman who has a strong personality often requires greater effort and understanding. Third, having a beautiful wife might affect a man's career ambition. There is an old saying, "Pleasures of the night make the morning short." From then on, the king neglects his court affairs. This means that beautiful women can easily lead men into indulging in their company, losing focus on their ambitions. Even emperors might skip morning court sessions due to their attraction to beautiful queens. For ordinary men, marrying an exceptionally beautiful wife might result in spending too much time and energy on her and the family, ultimately hindering career pursuits. While a beautiful wife may bring social prestige, it might also have the opposite effect, draining a man's motivation to succeed professionally. For young, unmarried men who are still in the entrepreneurial stage, it's especially crucial to understand this. You don't have to limit your standards for choosing a wife to just looks. Physical attraction is undoubtedly important, but what matters more is whether your wife can grow with you in your career, understand and support you, and maintain good communication and mutual understanding.
It's very, very true. It's like even in relationships with beautiful women, even in friendships with beautiful women, they still expect you to do everything for them. They still expect you to pay for everything. Because they are handed everything for free. So they have this entitled mindset and this entitled mentality. And that's why men have to learn how to walk away and stay away. Because the issue with these women is not just localized to the United States. The issue with these women is something that comes with just all around the world. Does this mean that you should avoid a wife, avoid being with a woman who is beautiful? Does that mean that you should go looking for a woman who is not beautiful and believe that that's going to be, that's going to get you a good relationship? Absolutely not. Because there are many women today who are not beautiful women, but they are treated by like they're royalty because of Sims. You have so many women today. Look at these channels on YouTube where you have a lot of these individuals who think that they are beautiful. They think that they are gorgeous because women in general just put on a pedestal in Western society. So you have guys who have make relatively good amounts of money, are relatively fit. You could have a guy who's 5'10", makes $100,000 a year. I shouldn't even say 5'10", 6 feet tall, makes $100,000 a year, over $100,000 a year. Has a six pack, and a woman, who has 3 kids, has a belly on her, and a mountain load of student loan debt and personal debt will reject this man and speak down to this man just because she doesn't like something about him. It could be because she doesn't like the way he's dressed. It could be she doesn't like his shoes. She doesn't like, a joke that he made. She doesn't like the kind of work that he does. What do you do for a living? Oh, I run a waste disposal. I run a waste disposal company. So in other words, you're a garbage man. Well, yeah, we do. We do pick up trash, and we for other people. I run the entire business, and I make couple $100,000 a year. But you're a garbage man. If you want to look, I own the company. Yes, but you're a garbage man. Yeah. Have a good day, sir. Have a good day, sir. You have 3 kids. You have hundreds of thousands of dollars between your student loan debt and your personal debt. Okay? You don't go to the gym. You have a belly on you, and you're telling me have a good day, sir, because I'm a garbage man? Like this is what men are now dealing with. So it's so bad in Western society that it's not even just beautiful women anymore. You have to be careful because there are some beautiful women who are also decent people. You have to basically look at the person's behavior. You have to look at their upbringing because you could actually let go of some really good women thinking that, okay, well, this is a beautiful woman, so I'm going to avoid her because beautiful women have a bad reputation. But then you go and you get into a relationship with a woman who's not so beautiful, but she's also cheating on you. She's doing the exact same things that women who are really beautiful do, because in her mind she's still a 10. You have a lot of women who are 4s and 5s that are calling themselves 10s because you have a bunch of Sims telling them that they're beautiful. You have all these other women telling them they're beautiful. You have beautiful women telling them that they're beautiful. So now they think that they're beautiful women too, and that they deserve handouts, and the world is constantly giving them too much attention when most men are not even glancing in their direction. This is why 90% of men are starting to avoid women right now, relationships, and just basically focus on themselves. And guys, think about it. Come 2030, 45% of women between the ages of 25 and 44 in just the United States alone will be childless and single. That's not counting the single mothers. When you add in single mothers, we're talking about 70 to 90% of all women will be childless, will be single in the United States in just roughly 5 years. That's a lot of women, guys. That's a lot of poverty. That's a lot of destitution. Women today have shorter lives than women born almost 100 years ago, going back to 1928. And the only reason why it goes back to only 1928 is because we don't have any data before then. Realistically speaking, women today likely have shorter lives than women who were born in the 1800s. They are also more likely to pass away during childbirth than women who were born in 1928, which also means they probably had they probably have higher rates of mortality while giving birth than women who were born in the 1800s. So despite all of the despite all of the technology and all of the inroads, because they have less well-being than women born so long ago, despite everything, it's only getting worse for them. Despite all the education, all the freedom, the liberation, it's actually only resulted in a decline. On the other hand, single men, specifically men who have never been married, are living longer than ever before, and they're actually living longer than women in general. If you are a man who has never been married, you're a childless man who has never been married, men who have never had children, men who have never gotten married, you will typically have a longer lifespan than the average woman. This is what research is now showing. And that says a lot. Fathers, for example, have the worst hearts. Being a father will automatically give you, result in you having a worst heart because you have to work so hard and put up with so much just as a father. This is the reason why it's best not to get involved in relationships. But a lot of these men did it to themselves. A lot of these men, a lot of us have siblings, we have brothers, we have so far, and they went off and they had these children with these women, and now they did it to themselves. And, right, and you know what? I don't care about these men. Let them be, and let them deal with what they have to deal with. That's it. Guys, do you agree that we're looking at a society that's going to become increasingly difficult for women going forward? While there's a lot of hardship on the horizon, society is going to be shocked as men are thriving and surviving. Single men specifically are thriving and surviving in the coming years, despite a worsening economy and hardening times. While women, and these are going to be men who are walking away from society and working fewer hours because the average man are not working at all, because the average man can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road, while women are going to be struggling like never before. And the world is going to look at women in Western society and say, how did women end up in this terrible state and this terrible condition? Because women were not designed to live without a husband. And I have Sims in my comments that try to argue with me about it. They don't know about how women suffer, how they remain silent, how they put up these things on social media, pretending like they're happy and they're ecstatic to be alone and they don't need no man, but they're really crying alone when no one's looking. They are miserable, saying they wish they had a husband, they wish they had someone. Sometimes you have these childless women who never even had children till they have no one to even be there for them. They're all alone. It's a hard reality. It's a very, very hard reality. And women, because of their ego, many of them can never admit that they are wrong. Guys, to the end of their existence, most women cannot find it within themselves to say, I messed up. I was wrong. I did this to myself. I'm responsible for what happened here. It's a frightening thing that it's an observation that I've made when it comes to women. Most women cannot self-reflect and be honest to the end of even to the very end. They will hold on to their ego and to what they have done, even if there is a way to save themselves by admitting their errors. They cannot do it. There's just something inside of them. They cannot take accountability for anything, because without accountability, you will never really have full and true control over your life. And yet these women don't seem to understand that. Rather, they will continue to find someone else to blame for what has happened. They will try to find someone else to say, okay, well, it's someone else's fault that this happened. It's not my fault. I'm not guilty for this. It was this person, bro. It was you. It was your life. Oh, it's everyone around me. It's society. No, dude, it was you. You made these choices. You chose to live this life. You chose to go and get that medical degree and PhD and all this other jazz. You chose the career over a husband. You chose the career over children and a family. You chose the career. And now you don't want to take any accountability for that. And you want to blame everyone around you, including men. You chose Chad. You chose Tyrone. You chose Ray Ray. You chose Pookie. You chose Enrique. You chose Miguel. Okay, you chose Pancho. You loved little Pancho. You love little Pancho, his fat little belly. All right? You chose him. That's the man that you loved. That's the man that you desired. And now that life is getting harder, now that you don't know how you're going to survive and how you're going to make it, you want to turn around and act like all men are responsible. And bro, you were not having relationships with these men. You didn't want Marcus from that works in IT. Okay, you wanted Jamal that was slinging in the streets. Okay. And then when you and these are the kinds of men that you went for. And now when your life is messed up, you want to act like, oh, well, you have a lot of trauma from these men. Well, the reality is you've only been with these types of bad dudes. You've only been with these ponchos. All right. And then you want to put your trauma on all of us like we were responsible for it. You didn't like good men. You didn't like men that weren't out in the streets. Okay. And now you want to put all of that trauma on other men and act like we need to work with you. That's unbelievable. There's been a lot of bad done on both sides. No, it's been done specifically by the men that, by women in Western society and by the men that they love. All right, the Ponchos, Ray Rays, Pookies, Tyrones, that these men, okay, the average man is just trying to survive and live a better life and do better. And modern women didn't want these men, and now they're out here, trying to act like all men are responsible. No. What do you guys think? Do you agree that women are going to be seeing extraordinary amounts of hardship going forward as more men walk away from society and automation kicks in? Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.